providing better assistance to beneficiaries. Enhanced benefits under the SNAP ended March 1st, and a significant share of households are reporting food insufficiency. The latest data released last week marks the first full period of data collection since the end of the SNAP benefits. It revealed that households in states that were distributing the extra benefits generally experienced lower levels of food insufficiency compared to those in states distributing standard debt amounts. Now, households in states that opted out of emergency allotments reported that they often do not have enough money and food to eat at the higher rates than those in states that continue to distribute the additional SNAP benefits. 1 in 4 households in the 32 states impacted by the policy change are reporting that either sometimes often do not have enough to eat. For some households that received benefits up until the program's termination, the policy change has major implications. For instance, a family of 4 with a net monthly income of $2,000 received $940 more in SNAP benefits this year compared to the previous crisis. And with the end of the emergency allotments, that family is now receiving $600 less a month. In total, roughly 32 million people are receiving smaller monthly SNAP payments, which is so much bad for American people. Other changes to SNAP include eligibility requirements. Republicans have passed a bill that would raise the age limit from 50 to 56 years old for the work requirements, and also that affect qualification for SNAP benefits too. But there is little chance that the bill will pass in its current format, with the Democratic-controlled Senate and President Biden already signaling that he would veto any spending cuts to the debt ceiling increase. In an effort to reach some kind of compromise, though, rules around the SNAP program could be adjusted in future years. This past Friday's better than expected jobs report defied interest rate hikes again that are aimed to slash inflation by cooling the economy. Instead, the U.S. added around 253,000 jobs in April, making a slight decline from an average of 290,000 over the previous months. And now government data showed that the job gains did not occur evenly across sectors. Some industries posted blockbuster expansions, while others lagged far behind. The sector that featured the most job gain covers a wide-reaching set of positions, referred to as businesses and professional services, which includes attorneys, accountants, managers, and computer engineers. Return. New Mexico reinserts have gotten a lot of tax relief so far in 2022. New Mexico became the last state to exempt Social Security income from taxes when Governor Michelle Lujan signed a sweeping tax legislation, which helped many people. Shocking news. President Biden has released and announced a new executive order. He will be taking action on it very soon. The lawmakers are trying to include new provisions into a new spending bill, and this means a 4th round of stimulus may be sent out sooner than later. The House Majority Caucus has already proposed a $1,300 payment to people in Alaska to provide relief for high fuel costs, inflation, and the crisis. The House Majority said the bill includes an energy relief check. The money will be in addition to Alaska's annual permanent fund dividends. Democratic Representative Neil Foster said the current $110 price per barrel of oil was a major reason for the proposal. He told reporters, prices of fuel at the pump for gasoline and heating fuel are going up, and as Alaskans face these high prices, the state of Alaska is going to see more revenue come into the coffers. And so we believe that we should be helping $1,000 and get the payments every single month. Now, some governors are backing a one-time tax rebate to put as much as $800 in the pockets of the American people. And the governor told reporters, a paycheck does not go as far as it did 2 years ago, and I'm working to give nearly $1 billion back to the hands of hardworking, tax-paying Alabama residents. But applications for new guaranteed income programs in Massachusetts, for example, opened, with selected participants receiving monthly payments of up to $500. So folks, it's great to see that Joe Biden is actually doing something to help the American people, which since mid-2022, politicians have warned Americans and a growing number of tax people to be exact about this. And the IRS has said that it wants to hire new employees using funds from the $80 billion allocated to the Inflation Reduction Act. But according to several experts, the IRS does not plan to use all of that funding for hiring purposes alone. As the New York Times pointed out, the IRS total number of full-time employees is 20% fewer than what the agency had in 2010. Even though the population has grown, to bolster its numbers, the agency plans to hire using a lot of money, $50 for 3 children. Families need to apply to receive it. And the size of the credit and eligibility requirements vary greatly by state. Vermont's $1,000 payment, for example, is reserved for children 5 and under and families earning $125,000 or less. In Massachusetts, existing tax deductions for dependents were converted into two refundable credits. These state tax credits are worth between $180 to $240 per child under 12 for up to 2 children in all families. In some states, the credit is non-refundable, which means it can reduce someone's tax liability as low as $0. Taxpayers must file a tax return to receive it. Others, including Vermont, have made it fully refundable, meaning that it can reduce a filer's tax liability below $0. Despite the plans, the bill is yet to be formally proposed. I have no idea, everybody. We all have to blame it on President Biden because the focus of the White House and the GOP leadership on areas of bipartisan cooperation is a marked contrast to the House Representatives, as they're still struggling to enact somebody to take charge. So what I want to say is that the infrastructure law put aside $100 billion for roads and bridges, and now rural broadband, ports, and other items are having some difficulties around us. For instance, this week's visit, Republican push to add amendments addressing some of the legislative priorities. Several weeks ago, Democrats and Republicans had already reached an agreement on this, but much less than $22.5 billion that the White House initially requested. This would actually be paid for using unspent funds that different agencies received as part of last year's American Rescue Plan. Some Senate Republicans, however, refused to move forward with a vote on the aid unless lawmakers considered another stimulus bill. So folks, think that President Biden is doing a good job on the fourth stimulus check? Tell me what you think in the comments. We have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus payment, so continue to keep on watching. $1,200 monthly checks have finally been approved and proposed for Americans, including Social Security, SSDI, and SSI. Okay, so millions of people in the United States that earn under $200,000 could get monthly payments of $1,250 very soon, while the expanded monthly child tax credit payments were temporarily paused back in December 2021. Lawmakers want to send out more stimulus relief money, and now the substantial price increases. When the Fed raises interest rates, money becomes more expensive to borrow, harder to get, and more worthwhile to save. According to The Hill, the Fed wants demand for goods and services to fall closer to supply, which has dwindled as a result of obstacles created by the crisis. In an ideal world, the Fed can raise the interest rates gradually enough to bring down inflation without slowing the economy. But economists generally agree that inflation has risen too high for the Fed to bring it down, without causing at least some hardship. And the Fed's rapid rate hikes will bring an end to the 2 years of rapid wage growth, record job openings, and remarkably low layoffs. The US still added 315,000 jobs last month, and wages rose 5.2% over the past year. But economists do suspect that some job growth is going to be slow and the unemployment rate to rise as businesses feel the squeeze of higher interest rates. That means many more workers who have not yet gotten back under raises will not get one and may have few other unemployment options with better compensation. A round of relief checks are expected to be mailed and deposited to millions of people. These payments can be worth up to $270. The lawmakers have already announced new plans for their state, and they will provide residents an extra boost of money. So friends, more and more stimulus checks are going to be sent out. That's official. New York Governor Kathy Hochul and legislative leaders announced that a stimulus payment of about $270 will be sent to 1 million the crisis essential employee premium pay program. The House Speaker